be live. Okay, we should be live right now. Alright. Okay, we should be live right now on both platforms. Let me go ahead and do a double check. We should be good to go. Hold on. Okay, we should be live here as well. Yep, we should be live here as well. Sweet. How about on the other side, on the other platform? Okay, hold on. Let me go ahead and do this thing. Yup, we are live as well. Sweet. Okay, so here we are. No. Stupid. Beautiful. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, let's make sure we are live. Yup, we are live indeed. We are live indeed. Alright, everybody, we are live from the Twitch and YouTube channels of the Storyfuel Podcast. This is your host, Senor Alex Fuel. It's time to go ahead and talk about some really good stuff. And I'm really excited for this live session, because we're going to talk about an iconic television series and or children's television series or television show rather, that is so iconic. It is are you kidding me? Anyways, like I said, we are here to talk about some really good stuff. We are here to talk about some really great stuff today, and you will be at the forefront of history today, because today we're going to talk about one of, if not my favorite, children's television shows of all time, and that is Blue's Clues. Yes, you heard me right. The show wherein you figure out what the dog Blue is thinking, or you basically have to figure out, the host has to figure out what they are gonna do, or what the dog is gonna do, and all of that. So why do I like the show Blue's Clues? Well, I'm gonna say it. Blue's Clues is that show that is an iconic classic, a classic television series that actually got a really great reboot in Blue's Clues and You. And Blue's Clues and You is basically like I said, a reboot of the iconic television series that back in, I believe, is 2019, 2020, if I'm not mistaken. And it proved to be quite successful, in my humble opinion, and I still have to watch Blue's Clues and You, and or rewatch that show, because I did watch some snippets of it, but I haven't like delved deep into that show, because again, that show is so iconic, or the predecessor was so iconic that that's what everybody's like talking about with that stuff. So, in a nutshell, what do I love about the show? Well, the show is about finding clues and figuring out something related to the episode. So there are some episodes wherein you have to figure out what uh because the price is at 2 o'clock, and that is crazy. That is one of the craziest episodes ever. There was one time, there was one episode wherein Steve, the main character, went to college, and he and his uh, show brother Joe, uh, portrayed by Jonathan Patton, which by the way is one of the most handsome guys that will ever lay their eyes upon, especially in the realm of children's television. He is great. Um, Blues Clues is the bomb. And then you got the reboot, and suffice it to say that the reboot absolutely uh, it is an absolutely great show that doesn't tarnish the original. What do I mean by that? Well, typically when you hear the word reboot, especially in a television show or a movie, people get skeptical. People are skeptical if the show is going to be good, because shows of that nature tend to be more watered down, tend to be more how can I say, tend to be more skewed, if that makes any sense. They are more uh, skilled. They are more. The design is more childlike and for not appropriate, not apropos for um a specific audience. Like take for instance the Ben 10 reboot. The Ben 10 reboot that happened back in like I would say around 2016 was not that good. It didn't live up to the height of the original Ben 10 happened around 2000. God, I'm old. That was my birth month as well, birth year. Right, 2016 Ben 10 reboot was awesome. It was trash, dude. I did watch some episodes of it, but not all of them, and boy oh boy, the quality dipped. Yes, you'll have some bright spots in there, but man, the show didn't live up to the hype. The show didn't live up to the um lofty aspirations of the originals, and it was just a bad show in my humble opinion. The show was just bad, like for real. The show was just bad. Uh, Whereas with the Blues Clues reboot, aka Blues Clues and You, well, suffice it to say that the showrunners over at Nickelodeon were incredibly based. What do I mean by incredibly based? Well, they decided to not tarnish the aspects of the previous iteration, aka the original Blues Clues, and decided to build it upon it, or build upon it English, by bringing back the majority of cast of the original show, the original Blues Clues. Like, for instance, you had uh, uh, Leigh Allen reprising her role as side table drawer. Then you have uh, Nick Balaban reprising his role as Mr. Assault. Um, Spencer Caden, I believe, is the voice that, the voice of Mrs. Tucker. Uh, yes, it is still under a different, what do you call that? It's still under a different main showrunner or a main character in the front of Josh, uh, portrayed by a half Filipino, half American. Yeah, baby, and it was great. And funnily enough, this show didn't tarnish the original, which is crazy to me. Which is crazy to me because typically, like I said before, shows like this tend to fall flat on their face because of that idea. And man, it was great. It is a great show, but nothing. and I mean nothing can top the original show. The original show was fantastic in its own way, and boy oh boy, I got the pleasure, the privilege, and the honor to discuss it for you all today. And man, it feels like uh, we have come full circle. Because last time, like a couple of months ago, I talked about another iconic show in Dora the Explorer, and its sequel and reboot, or sequel and spin-off rather, in Go Gay Go Go and who else? Sure. Let me go ahead and follow you. Revolution 88. So let me go ahead and do that. So, by the way, thank you to Revolution 88 or 98 rather for the follow. I appreciate that very much. Let me go ahead and drop a follow for you as well. Sweet. Thank you for that follow, man. Highly appreciated. Let's give you a well-deserved shout out in the form of a notification. So let me go ahead and let me go ahead and what do you call that? Let me go ahead and give you a shout out. So shout out to Revolution 98 for the follow. I appreciate that very much. Arigato gozaimasu. So, like I mentioned earlier, the reason why I like Blue's Clues so much is because Blue's Clues is, how can I say it? It is an iconic show. It isn't, it is rather English, a iconic show. Yes, you may think, yeah, the show is kind of weird. Uh, it is weird in its own way, but the show has its own quirks. Let's just put it that, and that is why I like it so much. It has its own quirks. It has its own ideas, and it follows them to perfection. It is great. It is fantastic. Alright, so let me go ahead and do that. And so again, Blue's Clues, what a show. Let me just say that right now. What a show, my man. If Resolution is still here, what are some of your favorite shows that you've watched in the past? It could be anime, it could be like children's television. I would like to know, because I was once a profound supporter and follower of these shows, because these shows are my childhood and they were responsible for who I am today as an adult, as a 25-year-old adult. But I still go back to these shows time and again because these shows are classics. If Resolution is still here, would you please um, answer this question? What are some of your favorite shows that you have watched in the past? English. What are some of your favorite shows that you have watched in the past? And by the way, as well, I do stream this thing as well over on YouTube. By the way, I do have a YouTube channel for this, and it is named, you guessed it, the Storyfuel Podcast, and you can go check it out at youtube.com /at the Storyfuel Podcast. There you can find a bunch of different great content, including the first few episodes of the podcast, wherein I talk about my beginnings, my bouncing back, among many others, ringing in the new year of 2025, along with some really good beginning episodes. And you can go check it out over there on YouTube as well, which is fantastic. So, like I said, wow. I implore you guys to go check it out. It is free, and free is good. Okay, so let me go ahead and enlarge this. Oh boy. Excuse me. Alright, so let us go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of this thing. Right here. There we go. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Alright, so there we go. Nice. At least we got a counter here of the amount of viewers that we have on both platforms. And I implore you guys as well, those of you who watch me right now over here on Twitch, you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, because I want to grow the community as well over on YouTube. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this thing. And let me go ahead and hit the record button. Alright, so we're here. What is up, Internet? Senor Alex Fuel here, and welcome back to another episode of the Storyfuel Podcast, where in every story matters. And in today's episode, we're gonna go ahead in English. We're gonna discuss an iconic children's television show and an equally iconic reboot of said show, and we're going to talk about Blue's Clues today. Especially now, I am a sucker for cartoons and anime as of the moment. Rest the publishing studio and this stream in particular. Well, I'll go ahead and play some Marvel Snap for y'all. So, I love Blue's Clues. Let me go ahead and explain why. So, Blue's Clues is a children's animation series that is near and dear to my heart, and it is a show that centers around a main character. In the first four episodes, or first four seasons rather, of Blue's Clues, it was Steve Burns. In seasons 5 and 6 of said show, it was Donovan Patton, that portrays the role of Joe, Steve's brother, story-based brother, and that was great. And on top of that, you have a bunch of really cool, fantastic characters as well. Mr. Salt, Mrs. Pepper, Side Table Drawer, among many, many others. So the reason why the premise of the show is as follows. Um, the premise of the show is as follows. You are gonna be helping Steve and Blue to solve a ongoing mystery in the world of Blue's Clues, but at the same time, figuring out what they want to achieve. And it's hard to explain really the premise, but in a nutshell, uh, the goal of the show is to figure out a specific something, and Steve and Blue, along with their friends, along with the virtual viewer as well that is watching the show and is placed there, uh, by Nickelodeon to go ahead and figure it out. So, children, uh, children from they include children as well, and they want to integrate that aspect into the show, and that is what makes the show so iconic. They get their notebooks on, they go in and solve the clue, and all is right in the world, let's just say. Absolutely beautiful. An absolutely iconic television series, and I could not be more proud of myself to revisit and rewatch that show, because that show is great. That show is fantastic, in my humble opinion. And that's essentially the groundwork for the original Blue's Clues. The reboot of Blue's Clues, titled Blue's Clues and You, was equally as iconic, because typically when you hear a reboot, typically you hear something along the lines of, oh, this show sucks, this show is bad, this show is gonna be trash. But the reality is, if you look at it more closely, the show or reboot shows are not half bad. Uh, it all depends on the execution of the reboot. It's gonna suck or not, and that is essentially the fear that most people had uh, upon entering the new series, Blue's Clues and You. But I'm happy to report, and the majority would agree with me on this one, that Blue's Clues and You was a really decent show. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's the truth, that people were actually uh, impressed, let's just say, by the show, and they decided, why not give this show a chance, and so they did. Uh, and what makes it even better is because the majority of the voice actors, or let's just say, yeah, the voice actors and the uh, original cast, let's just say, of the original Blue's Clues returned and reprised their roles. And that is fantastic, along with a brand new host as well. That host is Josh, which is portrayed by a Filipino American. Hashtag Pinoy Pride. But anyways, typically, reboots like this, reboots like what do you call it? Reboots like this, or reboots like um the or other reboots, or with other reboots, they like to tarnish stuff. But here, they didn't tarnish anything. They basically improved upon and revisited key moments, while at the same time uh, making the viewers happy. And that's what matters, chat. That's why I like the shows so damn much. They are fantastic. They are a fantastic show to revisit, rewatch, and rediscover, basically. Excuse me. Uh, I like the show so damn much. I typically revisit the shows once every like 2 days or 2 weeks, or once every day rather. It is such a classic show. I like it. Not bad. Alright. Excuse me. Well, monkey see and monkey do. Well, so like I said, gotta love how uh gotta love how I have a soft spot for the show of Blue's Clues, because Blue's Clues is my childhood. man. It is a classic for a reason. That's why I like to I like to revisit it because it is such a damn good show. It is a classic for a reason. Oh boy, that's a lot. Link. And the reason why I like Blue's Clues and its reboot so much is because technically with a reboot, technically with a reboot, the reboot is gonna be like lower in quality than the original, which did happen in other reboots that I have watched. Ben 10 reboot, but in this one, the what do you call it? The Blue's Clues reboot, the Blue's Clues and You, they decide to go ahead and bring some new flavor to the mix, but at the same time not tarnishing the original. Not tarnishing the original is key, man. It is great. And tarnish, for those who don't know, is basically another word for this merch. Putting the show down to the ground. And that's what makes shows like this so nice. That's why I love them so much. It is a classic for a reason. And that's why I will continue to love and appreciate shows like this. Wherein, yes, the shows do have some flaws, but they do also contain some very iconic moments. Very iconic moments that will live English rather on in glory, in infamy almost, but mainly glory as well. Because man, these shows are hard to make, from its conceptualization to its execution to the recruitment of veteran talent or talent in general, just to do these roles is such a huge feat, especially for a children's television show, and that reflects all television shows and animated shows I've watched in the past and in the present. That includes shows like Star Wars The Clone Wars, that includes Star Wars Rebels, that includes Dora the Explorer, that includes the myriad of other shows that I've covered here on the channel and in streams like this. That is why I will continue to appreciate every single person out there who put their heart, their soul, their blood, their sweat, their tears into this, because without them, the animation world will be lost to infamy, which is a great thing. My throat. Oh, my throat is itchy. Let me go ahead and drink some water here. So yeah, love these shows. They are classics for a reason, and I would be an idiot to not acknowledge them just for a minute. Like, I know that some people out there would like to exaggerate, would like to criticize, but the reality is, some of the most iconic shows have a place in history, and this show is one of them. Blue's Clues and its reboot are a classic for a reason. And that's why I will continue to love them, continue to enjoy them as long as I live. And as long as we live as well. And by the way, Steve, the original host for the first 4 seasons of Blue's Clues, actually uh, decided to check out on us during uh, I, I believe it's either the pandemic or like after the pandemic happened. He basically went on uh, he uploaded a video somewhere. I don't know if it's Twitter, which is now called X, or in Instagram, and he basically checked out on us. And what a nice guy! Let me just say, it was the closure that the majority of people, including myself, needed, because we were all in the downest days, but Steve gave us assurance, and or uh gave us assurance that everything's gonna be okay, everything is gonna be fine, and I really like that about him. What a nice guy. And that's why I will continue to love and appreciate every single person that worked hard on these shows that that are actually iconic, rather, from Star Wars. Even though Star Wars is on a rut right now because of bad management over at Disney, I still continue to love Star Wars. Avatar, which, by the way, spoiler alert, is going to be the next deep dive discussion here on the Storyfuel Podcast, so stay tuned for that. Uh, the sequel to Star Wars, which is Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars The Clone Wars is the show that I'm referring to. All the way to Dora the Explorer, Go 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 Go, Dora and Friends, and now with Blue's Clues and its reboot. Man, what a ride! What a ride that we have been on, and I could not be more happier to cover this iconic duo of shows with you, and I hope that I continue doing more of this in the future, because these shows are iconic, and I will continue to yak about them, I will continue to acknowledge them, among many others. And also, quick motivational talk here on the Storyfuel Podcast before I continue with this session that I have with Marvel Snap. For those of you who don't know me, uh, in the past I was a stubborn kid that I like to curse, I like to say stuff that I don't want to say, that I am forced to, because even though I have a deep faith, a deep connection with the one that saved me, the amount of stress, the amount of trauma, the amount of everything pretty much coalesced and um uh forced me basically to do this podcast. This podcast is like my safe zone, like my way of telling stories for you, beautiful people. And it is an honor for me. It is an honor and a privilege for me to go ahead and discuss topics like this with you all, because I like to talk, I like to yap, and that is why I decided to make this series, Yak and Snap, wherein this series talks about like particular topics, but at the same time, you guys are here to watch some things moving around on the screen, and I totally appreciate that, especially with the viewers that I have right now. Yes, I know it's still small. Yes, it is a given, but uh, I could not be more happier for that. And I just gotta say thank you so much to those people who follow the channel so far. We are at 10 out of 50 followers. It's uh, it is an honor for me to go ahead and do this kind of stuff with you all, and I will continue to do more. I will be back on the grind like regularly. But for now, uh, this is what I got, and I just gotta say thank you so much to Resolution 98 for the follow. I highly appreciate that. It is a great feeling, in my humble opinion, and uh, I am happy with the uh, gradual success that I'm having with my podcast, and I will continue to pump out more podcast episodes like this one. My throat, my throat is really messed up today. Hold on. Wait, so like I mentioned earlier, this show, Blues Clues, and its sequel slash reboot is one of, if not the most iconic shows ever released on the planet Earth, especially for Nickelodeon standards, because the fact that people gave it a chance, the fact that people loved the show, adored the show, even with the criticisms that got, especially with the change of voice actors and or actors in general that portrayed these iconic roles, is such wow. That's all I can say. Wow. Like they have a uncanny ability to go ahead and uh pivot whenever things go awry. So for instance, in season 4, episode 25 of Blue's Clues, the original that is, uh they had to replace Steve due to reasons, I guess. So they decided to play along with the idea and decided to make a show wherein Steve goes to college, which is a hypothetical thing to say that Steve is leaving the show, which is iconic. At the same time, it is like a punch to the gut, and man, it is uh, an emotional an emotional ending. Steve being there, being the host of Blues Clues for such a long time, and then being replaced by Joe, which is portrayed, or which is portrayed by Jonathan Patton. Man, that would have been a punch to the gut. But as we all know, if you have watched that particular video, uh, from Steve, I don't know if it's posted still or if it's still up there, but I think the official Nickelodeon slash Nick Jr. Twitter account is still up there, or uh, is still uploaded there. But yeah, he is grateful basically for what happened after that, and I'm happy that he's happy. I'm happy that he is able to go ahead and get back on his feet despite his uh you know uh unwillingness, or willingness rather, to leave the show and for someone to take up the mantle of yeah. So, uh, well, to tell you the truth, they got some balls. I mean, Nickelodeon's got some balls of steel to go ahead and like uh uh make Steve leave off of the show. But Steve is proud to go ahead and leave the show because Steve isn't like according to the video that I watched, Steve is not a person that is. Steve likes to prefer things low key, and uh, I love that about him. He is such a down to earth person, and I hope everybody, including myself, would emulate him that way. And I do love the fact that, wow, really, bro? Really? Why did you? Wow, that is crazy. Okay, Homelander. That's nuts. Interesting. That's an interesting name for an interesting uh character. What's it's wow, okay. What's this? Atlantis. So we can go double one drop here. Like I said, I love Blue's Clues. It is an iconic show wherein we get to see we get to basically skidoo. Skidoo is basically them teleporting and transporting to other regions or other places. And typically when they do that, they went ahead or yeah, they went ahead and decide to drop in some clues there so that uh, that would be their final clue and they will get to think of those clues in the thinking chair. God, God, I love that thinking chair thing. It is such an iconic part and symbol of Blue's Clues that they decided to keep it for the reboot, which is fantastic. Excuse me. Nice. The Bifrost. Gotta love it. Nice. Ooh. Crap. Well, shit. Anyways. Yeah, so that's why I love the show so much. It is an iconic show that deserves respect. Oh boy. So yeah, appreciating this iconic series is such an honor for me to go ahead and experience it here for you folk, for you five. And that's why I like the show so much, is because even though the shows kind of uh falter in some instances, the shows themselves are really good. They are too iconic not to go ahead and acknowledge. And that's why I like the show so damn much. It is a classic for a reason, and I just have no words. The reason why I haven't talked for quite a few minutes there because it's because I don't have any words. I don't have any words to add as to how iconic the shows are. These shows are iconic and part of mine and other people's childhoods. And wow, I my head is like stuttering and my voice is stuttering to how iconic these shows are. These shows are a classic beyond belief, and I could not be more happier that I got to witness and lay eyes upon such an iconic series and got to share these experiences with you. Because let me just say it, this year, things have not been particularly good for me, but with the power of faith that I have, with the power of the flames of the spirit at my back, I can do anything. And hopefully, hopefully that translates here in this series that I am doing, Yak and Snap. Wherein, yes, even though I'm talking about some outside the box topics, you can still learn from them, you can still enjoy them for what they are, and you can still uh, be enamored by them, regardless of what show that is. Regardless if you like the show, regardless if you hate the show. The shows are iconic, and nothing can replace that. Nothing can replicate that, basically. So that is essentially it. Really, such an iconic series, and I would not miss it for the world. That these shows are iconic, and I would die on this hill. I would rewatch these shows again and